If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. Gotta evolve. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. Gotta evolve. If you're getting off track and you want to get back, may take a lot of...
Welcome to Disc 2 of the Wizard of Oz box set. Okay, there's not as many extras on Disc 2, but what they have here is quite a lot compared to most DVDs. First, we're going to start on Victor Fleming, Master Craftsman. This is a documentary about Victor Fleming, the man who directed Wizard of Oz. And it's more or less his whole career, showing everything he had done up to the point of when he made Oz. And it's a really good, interesting documentary if you know nothing about Victor Fleming. I mean, he made some of the greatest films of all time that people really don't realize, that he made Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind in the same year. And he's just a pretty amazing guy. And great documentary, very informative, well worth watching here. The next extra is L. Frank Baum, the man behind the curtain. Again, another documentary all about the writer of Oz, and extremely good, very detailed documentary that goes through his entire life up until the point where he ends up, actually writing Wizard of Oz. So if you know nothing about L. Frank Baum, this is a great treat for you. And his life is just amazing up to the point where he actually started writing Oz. So yeah, this is absolutely a great little documentary here. The next extra is called Hollywood Celebrates Its Littlest Stars. And this is all about the Munchkins from Wizard of Oz. And it's really cool that they actually, gave them their own little documentary here. And as you see, they got the star on the Hollywood fame as the Munchkins. And those who are still alive, got to participate in here. And there's a couple of interviews here with them, as you can see, dressed in full costumes. And they're all still really funny people. It's just a really cool documentary to see them now, or when they made this documentary, compared to when they were younger. And it talks all about their experiences making Oz, and it's just a great little documentary. So now we have what's called The Dreamer of Oz. Now this was a TV movie. I had watched this on TV when it originally came on. This is actually one of the reasons why I bought this box set, because I like this movie so much, and my wife had never saw it, so I got this to show her. But you can see the quality of the tape, it literally looks like they got it from a videotape. The quality here is really kind of bad. It's almost blurry through the whole thing, and at some points they actually have like lines that show up, like tracking marks and things like that. The quality of it is horrible. I don't know if they couldn't get the original print of it, or if this is the only print they had of it, or what, but it looks like it was literally recorded off of an old, 20, 30-year-old videotape. So, but the movie itself is absolutely outstanding. This is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen about Frank L. Baum, or movie about him. And it is so well done, and the story here is very solid, and everything about this I absolutely loved this when it was on television. I think it's one of the biggest underrated TV shows, or miniseries, whatever it was when it came on, that I've seen, that no one probably has ever watched. So after The Dreamer of Oz, we have a bunch more movies, and these were actually made. The first one, called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, was made in 1910. Then His Majesty the Scarecrow of Oz was 1914. And then it goes on to another one 1914, another one 1914, 1925, and then 1933. So these first few of them, of course, are silent films, and they're all really interesting to see other people's visions of what Oz was. of course, and if you don't know, there has been more than one book of Oz. L. Frank Baum wrote quite a few of them. So what they do in these movies is, they're adapting the other books of Oz rather than just the first one, like this one here, The Patchwork Girl of Oz. And besides the live action stuff, there are actually a few on these that are animated, like this one here. And I think it's interesting that the animated one follows the same format as the live action one, where it's black and white in the beginning of it, and when they go to Oz it turns into color. That's pretty much it for the second disc. The last thing on there is an online feature that you can get onto and see what the newest things that this company is offering on Blu-ray. So, on to disc 3. The last disc of this collection actually doesn't have any graphics on it. It is a plain disc. The feature is actually on both sides of this disc because it's so long. So this last disc is the longest documentary I have ever watched. Not just on any DVD, but ever. This documentary literally is about 4 to 5 hours long. And I'm not exaggerating here. That's the length of this documentary. And it's not anything about Wizard of Oz. They mention it several times in this, but briefly. It's all about MGM Studios. I mean, they go through the beginning of MGM up till the collapse of MGM. The very early days of it, up until it, is over with. The entire thing is also hosted by Patrick Stewart from Star Trek. And it's really just the weirdest thing on here is his hosting, because they have these crazy weird sets that he's walking on. Some of them are rather cool, but other ones are just so weird. The whole thing is just strange. The hosting part of this is just kind of out there, but all the information that you get from MGM is staggering. I mean, I never knew anything about the MGM Studios. I never knew who owned it. I never knew what happened to it. I never knew who was in there. But yeah, the entire thing is phenomenal. I mean, this is like one of the most information gathering documentaries I think I've ever seen in my life. As you can see what I was talking about here with the weird sets. He's like walking up in the clouds, and he has couches that he's sitting on with wine bottles, and it's just, the whole thing is just weird.
It's been a tumultuous one. Mr. von Stroheim was once heard to comment, "Since when does a boy supervise a genius?"
I first heard of Eric when I got my first job at Universal in New York. He was being described as a tyrant and generally unmanageable, and Thalberg always found that the pictures went way over every budget, sometimes ready to break the company.
So there you have it. The review for the 70th anniversary Wizard of Oz box set. It's just as amazing a box set as you could ever buy. The extras are phenomenal. It'll take you days or even weeks, maybe even months to get through all these extras. I know it took me quite a while. I've been working on this review for about a month and a half now, just to get all these, stuff to you. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again on Out of the Blue.
If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. Gotta evolve. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve. Gotta evolve. If you're getting off track and you want to get back, may take a lot of work, won't break your back. If you want a revolution, the only solution, evolve.